Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I got kind of bored. So, and I like to draw sometimes. So, what I ended up doing was drawing the Dino Thunder Red Ranger punching Mesagog, I think his name was, but in the style of Roman Reigns punching Brock Lesnar. Okay, so here's a little bit of progress for it. Obviously, I'm getting the poses down. I'm starting to draw like the scales, I guess the white scales that they had. Obviously, I drew his head. I'm still kind of doing the beginner stuff, but I kind of got the gist of it. And then afterward, I might not draw Mesagog here, but I might draw it in another page next to this one. So yeah, so this is supposed to be like a Roman Reigns pose. Pop the picture up right here. And yeah, that's what this is supposed to be like. Obviously, it's not picture perfect, but you know, I'm just trying to get perspectives down and trying to learn. Yeah, so after a little bit, this is what I came up with. Obviously, I'm using kind of the squares and cubes to kind of get the shape in. Here's after I erased and added a lot more details to it. And here's the Mesagog pic. Obviously, him being depicted as Brock Lesnar here, as you could see. Here's the pose for it again. And yeah, the most difficult thing I had for Mesagog was the legs, because I mean, it wasn't necessarily his legs, but it was the depth of Brock Lesnar's legs. Obviously, I tried to get the right pose. I did have some references there, so I could kind of use them as an example, so that way I could, you know, have it set and ready to go. And here's me copying the images, or I practically took pictures of the images and I just kind of put them in Flip-a-Clip, which is the one that I've used for some of my thumbnails, and it's a pretty fun application to use. A lot of people use it for animations. I actually used this application for my PNG tuber, believe it or not, and it's a really cool application. Not sponsored, by the way, but yeah. One of the other difficulties I had with this drawing was the angle of Mesagog's head. And not that it was a weird shape. Obviously, he's a hybrid dinosaur, but it looked pretty all right in my opinion. Obviously, this is kind of like my first like not real attempt, but like a good attempt to work on perspectives. And here's me trying to make sure that everything's aligned perfectly. And now here I am filling up the colors of the Red Power Ranger. Now, during this process, I did notice that I was missing the cuffs for the Red Power Ranger here, for the Dino Thunder Ranger, and I did add them later, although I did not add the morpher, which, I mean, it's okay. To be fair, his fist is going to be right in front of Mesagog in this image, so it wouldn't really matter as much. Obviously, I'm adding the white highlight and I filling in the black mask or black visor, because you know that's also what's shown in the photo. And to be honest, this has made the progress a whole lot like easier. And here's me drawing the cuffs and resizing them so they could fit around the character's wrists. To be frank, this was a really good project, and obviously here's me with still some like minor mishaps, but you know what, you live and learn, and you learn from the best. And to be fair, I enjoyed this type of, you know, drawing and this idea of implementing two of my favorite childhood things into one. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I would love to do this again if you guys would like it. Obviously, here's me accidentally filling up the lines. And like I said, Mesagog's head is like a triceratops, I think that's what it's called. And look, there's me getting more color, more reference, adding some teeth in there. And just look how cool it's starting to look. How incredible it's starting to be put together. And yeah, I had a little bit of shadow. Obviously, I'm not a big expert on that, but I thought, you know, this would probably be a good idea here. Obviously, here's me trying to fill up some minor gaps, and now I start to try to work and make the background. Obviously, we are in a wrestling ring in this case, so I decided to make obviously the wrestling pole and obviously the pads for him. And I started making the ropes. It did take me a little bit of time to actually make the ropes, because I realized at some point that they weren't as aligned as I wanted them to be. But overall, I kind of got it down. Then eventually, I decided to erase the image of Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, and I started to make the ring. Now, obviously, probably could have used a little bit of shade, and if you guys have any advice, I'll be glad to kind of try my best to implement it.
and I'm having them just fight in the night sky. Look at that. Just adding a dark blue background, and then just adding some stars to that, adding some finishing touches, and here you go. Here's the final product right here. And obviously, actually I did add a little bit more minor details here and there, and I thought that, you know, it looked pretty cool. Now obviously maybe I should have added like shading like this, like other parts, and you guys can let me know, like you should have tried to maybe do this, or instead of doing this you could attempt that. And then here's me trying to copy everything onto one layer. Obviously I could merge them, but I wanted to keep them separated in case, like, in the future I decided to do something else with this image, and, you know, just use it for, you know, good stuff. But yeah, look, here's the final product here. I'm very proud of it, and I thought it was a cool little project to do. So if you did enjoy, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.